Hello and welcome to our show first edition as we go through this morning newspapers treatment of the top stories and how it went by. Today is March 11th and it's just past 7 this March 11th morning, and we're back again with another edition of first edition. Over the next 60 minutes, we'll take a closer look at the top stories from the national dailies to help and understand and to get a perspective on the national headlines in the national newspapers. We have with us two eminent guests from the print world joining us this morning, are Raj Gopalan and Praful Ketkar. Both of you gentlemen, good morning. Happy to see you all clean faces post the holy celebrations in the studios here. We're going to take a look. These two gentlemen are going to help us navigate through the papers, some of the papers that were published today, but also take a look at the online editions on what exactly transpired on the festive day across the nation and the world. Well, I'm Anil Thomas. Let's get started with the top story that we're looking at. That happened in India, and that happened as a big BJP's holy gift. Jyotiraditya Scindia changing colors, joining the BJP. He is expected to join the party in Bhopal soon and become its official candidate. Still not confirmed, but its official candidate for the Rajya Sabha elections from Madhya Pradesh and later a union minister. Scindia posted his resignation letter on Twitter minutes after meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with Union Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday morning. He is expected to join the party, and also, as we mentioned earlier, things changing there in that party. 22 Congress MLAs tendering their resignations to the governor. One MLA from the BSP and SP meeting the BJP leader Shivraj Singh Chauhan. Amidst all this that's happening there in the state, BJP meanwhile holding a central election committee meeting in Delhi, and lots to talk there over the next 60 minutes on what transpired on the festive day in the national capital and Madhya Pradesh. Well, starting off first with Raj Gopalan. Raj Gopalan, how do you see this particular situation in Madhya Pradesh? The numbers are down, but Kamal Nath, the chief minister, still confident of pulling it through. How do you see this?
Anil, the first foremost one is the letter by Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia. That is the basic document for us because we have to deliberate on that. He says, let's move on. What does it mean? Let's move on means he is indicating to Madam Sonia Gandhi, the letter says very clearly that we have failed in certain fronts, one or two areas.
True.
Therefore, that could not be there. Apart from that, Anil, having observed Madhya Pradesh politics for more than 30 years, especially the BJP politics, Madhya Pradesh is the focal point of RSS, Bharati Janasangh, BJP. But at the same time, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia's joining yesterday, meeting the Prime Minister yesterday, he has a significance. The reason being, three important groups in Madhya Pradesh Congress. One is Digvijay Singh, Kamal Nath, Jyotiraditya Scindia. Similarly, here three Gandhis, Sonia, Priyanka, Rahul. These three have different views on this, the other three. Therefore, the conflict arose the day before yesterday. When Congress president was wanting to talk to Jyotiraditya Scindia, he refused to go there.
True.
And he sent the resignation letter. Apart from that, I have spoken to some senior Congress leaders. They on record also say we are facing ideological crisis within the party. If you see, after 2019 defeat and 2014 defeat, Mr. A.K. Antony presented a report. What does the report say? We have been too much on, lost the balance from left of center, right of center. We are leaning towards the left side. That means appeasement of Muslim community. That cost us lot. We are alienating the upper caste. That is the clear understanding of Mr. A.K. Antony report. Apart from that, the senior leader whom I spoke to yesterday, day before yesterday, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, I am ready to quote him also. He says Congress has become from Sitaram Kesari Congress to Sitaram Yechuri Congress. What does it mean? They left ekdam utar palat liya hai. That is the reason why these differences. And second thing, to analyze, to have a concentration on Madhya Pradesh politics, the entire group in Madhya Pradesh, they don't want Digvijay Singh in the Rajya Sabha. That is the foremost one. Apart, from 4 or 5 newspapers, reportings, plus with my own experience, I can say Digvijay Singh spoiled Congress in Madhya Pradesh. Jyotiraditya Scindia was not being encouraged by Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi against Digvijay Singh. Because Digvijay Singh takes an extreme position, anti-upper caste, pro-minorities type of reasons. That is the culmination. That ideological war is costing the Congress very badly.
True.
Second thing, too much of the Kamalnath is a very nice player in Indian politics. He is the product of Sanjay Gandhi and he knows where to do, what to do, Agera. And he is totally sidelined Jyotiraditya Scindia. That is the reason these three factions have a triumvirate type of triangle.
Okay.
And they could not pass on certain important things in Madhya Pradesh. Corruption, apart from that, the importance of Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia was being sidelined. He knew it. For the last 1 year, Anil, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia could not meet Rahul Gandhi.
True.
Till 2019, they were so much of close friends, chums. And they used to share the same bench in the Lok Sabha and they used to heckle the government. Today, see the condition. The family of Jyotiraditya Scindia, all Scindias put together, most of them are in BJP. Even Jyotiraditya Scindia's grandmother was the founder member of Bharati Janata Sangh and BJP. Therefore, the importance thing coming to the original point, Congress is facing an internal existential crisis.
Okay.
Apart from that, Madhya Pradesh crisis will loom over in other states like Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh, also in some
Rajasthan.
southern states. So these are all the important message of Jyotiraditya Scindia's leaving Congress.
Okay.
His letter is a very important document for anyone to analyze what the Congress position is today.
Okay. Anyone to analyze what the Congress position is. Praful, this Congress Top Gun resignation coming at this point of time, will it lead to further divide? We have seen 22 MLAs who have resigned in Madhya Pradesh. Will that lead to further divide, within Madhya Pradesh, within the Congress?
See, as of now, I don't read too much because Lakshman Singh gave a message that we should be ready to sit in opposition, and besides that, every time when Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who is expected to make a comeback, he was asked, every time he insisted that why you are asking about the government formation. We are concentrating on Rajya Sabha elections. Why these Rajya Sabha elections are so crucial and so important, please try and understand. This Rajya Sabha election, because it is not just limited to Madhya Pradesh, couple of seats will be there from Gujarat, then 3 seats will be there from Assam.
56 seats overall.
So, this is going to completely change the texture of Rajya Sabha, which has till now the anti-government majority. So, if government has to go ahead with some major decisions in the future, the government will need some major support in, and perhaps this will change the texture in the sense NDA can marshal, each seat is important, and that's why I think Madhya Pradesh thing. But how it was unfolded, if you clearly see the words used by Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, he is saying that he is making two things clear. One, this is not a sudden thing. Over 1 year, I have been facing this crisis. One. Secondly, he is saying I can't serve people and Madhya Pradesh staying in the Congress.
True.
Now, these two things make it very clear, and if you read the versions of the MLAs that those have resigned from Congress, they are saying that this government is inaccessible. This government is not taking care of most of the senior leaders and their constituencies. So there was some kind of resentment. But when it comes to Scindia, see, there are 3 clear points. One, he was made a sort of face of Madhya Pradesh campaign, and then immediately after election he was sidelined. Again, as Mr. Rajgopalan was saying, Jyotiraditya was seen as Rahul Gandhi's man, while Kamal Nath is seen more as Sonia Gandhi's man. So that division is clearly visible. Second, this particular election of 2019 Lok Sabha elections, Congress won only 1 seat, and that was Kamal Nath's son from Chhindwara. Even Gwalior was lost. So who made, who actually played the game to even defeat Jyotiraditya Scindia? It is clearly visible that Mr. Digvijay Singh's son is in Kamal Nath's cabinet. Kamal Nath's son got elected to parliament, Jyotiraditya Scindia is sidelined. So it was a second blow. The third blow came when Jyotiraditya Scindia just last week went to some convention of contract teachers, and he gave again, reiterated the commitment that in our manifesto we had given the commitment, and if it is not fulfilled, I will be there on the roads with you. And there Kamal Nath gave the response that let's see who comes on the road. So it was a clear-cut challenge, and there was a known aspirations of Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia that at least he will be accommodated as the Pradesh Congress Committee chief in Madhya Pradesh. That was also not addressed, and only after he making his intentions clear, Congress came in huddle. So it is a full circle for Scindia family. We shouldn't forget that Madhavrao Scindia himself started his political career with Janasangh. Rajmata Vijayaraje Scindia was purely anti-Congressism and especially Gandhi family politics. So now it's a full circle, and as his aunt Yashodhara Raje tweeted, all the the divide that was there in the family on political lines it's over. So it's now joint united family in BJP.
Okay.
Anil, to add one more point to what Mr. Praful Ketkar said, the point is, if you analyze this, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia was defeated by Digvijay Singh camp.
True.
That revenge, political revenge, Mr. Digvijay Singh, who got him defeated, Jyotiraditya Scindia took on Digvijay Singh. Let me see that how you enter Rajya Sabha. So therefore, it's a personality titan clash. That is the reason why Kamal Nath could not take this side or that side. If you remember, in all the states,
True.
the one common name which was being projected was Priyanka Gandhi. To silence that groupism, they say every state should elect Priyanka Gandhi as Rajya Sabha MP. So in Madhya Pradesh, the chorus was that Priyanka Gandhi should come back. And apart from that, the essence of what I have been discussing with senior Congress leaders, three important points come out very clearly. 1984, after the death of Madam Indira Gandhi. 1991, after the death of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi. Things, because three Gandhis are there, we get confused. So Rajiv Gandhi. Second, if you see this Indian politics, especially the Congress internal politics, had a turns. 84 one turn, 91 one turn. From 91 onwards, if you see how many leaders have left Congress, Sharad Pawar, Mamta Banerjee, Jagan Reddy. So why? Titanic, differences of ideology. Many of them, Mamta Banerjee left because of certain reasons. Sharad Pawar openly said in the working committee, we cannot have foreigners in the Congress domination. Second thing, the anti feelings of the top leadership of Congress, including 5-6 working committee members of Congress, they have taken a right of left, left of right, not one particular stand. Total appeasement of minority communities was the UPA regime of 10 years. If you see, there were 6 laws passed by the parliament which have concentrated on alienating one particular community and appeasing one particular community. That is the reason Congress is in a crisis mode. People have rejected Congress in 2014 with 44 seats reduced in 2 digits. In 2019 also, the Indian voters did not give Congress a 3-digit. That means it's a crisis at the central leadership. Congress is facing what Mahatma Gandhi said, we must close the Congress. Thanks, that epitaph will be written by these 3 Gandhis.
Okay, the 3 Gandhis. Coming back to, from where Praful left it, Rajgopalan, is it more to do with the Rajya Sabha elections where this, where this titanic, I would say, tsunami that we have seen in the state politics in Madhya Pradesh?
Yeah, it's at least in every crisis, Rajya Sabha for a minority government, I have seen many examples I can give you. Whenever a state government is facing the minority votes, that particular thing will have a leadership crisis during Rajya Sabha elections. Similarly, all the governments, during presidential election, that government collapsed. Neelam Sanjeev Reddy, some sort of things, if you remember, So these are all certain important points. Rajya Sabha election was the crucial for Madhya Pradesh, and one point agenda of Jyotiraditya Scindia. He may not be openly saying, but internally he is of the view that Digvijay Singh stabbed me, let me also have a political action taken against him. Therefore, no Digvijay Singh for Rajya Sabha. That is the reason why. Apart from that, every Congress unit, it's a political party, every Congress unit donates to the central Congress party a donation. And Madhya Pradesh was having a huge number of donations. Now 6 governments of Congress, they are also paying to the central leadership. Now that will also face an immense financial crisis, financial crunch. The reason being, Madhya Pradesh was on the top to help the AICC. Now that will not be forthcoming with the absence of Mr. Kamal Nath. That also took revenge, Jyotiraditya Scindia took revenge that centre does not get funds from the state units.
Okay. Praful, looking at this particular, the drama that was played out, Jyotiraditya sending his resignation, once the resignation is accepted, then he being expelled from the party. A classic case of reverse engineering if you look at it purely in terms of how it was played out once Jyotiraditya submitted his resignation.
That shows, that again shows the, sort of,
Confusion?
Not confusion, the sort of, bankruptcy in organizational management. See, there are 3 clear pillars of managing any political organization in India. For that matter, everywhere, but in Indian case, it is more important, considering our democratic structure. One is leadership, the other is organization, third is ideology. Now, in all these fronts, Congress is, facing a crisis. There is no clarity on as far as leadership is concerned. Ideological confusion is there, and organizationally it is complete in disarray. And that's why you find this kind of comic thing where a person who has already given a resignation dated 9th March, he is being expelled from the party on 10th March. But the way developments took place, even politically, now, it was again, we are in new India, and with new kind of politics, with social media influence and Modi era. The so-called Nehruvian consensus sort of, there was a tradition that generally on festive days there used to be no political development. Now we journalists faced lot of
it's the most busiest
day. Most busiest day, and we saw that even during Haryana government formation amidst Diwali, certain developments taking place.
And Holi, Jyotiraditya Scindia took the Holi.
Yeah, and Jyotiraditya Scindia took the Holi. So, we were more in political colors, so you are not finding many colors on our faces.
Okay.
But
Anil, sorry, Praful. Anil, one important thing is that, the Congress party as cities joined with the Tukde gang and JNU visit of Rahul Gandhi. These are all certain things the senior Congress leaders also object to. The reason being, support one particular thing, gang. And the much more important, significant point, which as a political observer I say, apart from that letter by Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, the 1 hour meeting with the top 3 leaders, that is Jyotiraditya Scindia, Prime Minister and Amit Shah. This is important. You also in the introduction said that Jyotiraditya Scindia may become the union minister. So therefore, these are all certain things they might have worked out. Yesterday the buzz was at the central party office of BJP, Jyotiraditya Scindia will drive down. But today morning things are changed. Now he is going to Bhopal. So importance for Madhya Pradesh is coming, assuming again the significance, and presence of Jyotiraditya Scindia in Bhopal will send shivering to Mr. Kamal Nath and Digvijay Singh.
Okay.
See, here again, when I was talking about the sequence of events, day before yesterday, late night, the news started picking up.
True.
And in the morning, everybody was expecting it's because being Holi, nothing much will happen. Maybe we will have major political developments today. But the way things happened, Jyotiraditya Scindia going to Gujarat Bhavan, just across AICC headquarters on Akbar Road, There Amit Shah going and having a meeting. Amit Shah in his car driving him to, taking him to Prime Minister's residence, getting him back to Gujarat Bhavan. There they spent almost more than 1 hour 10 minutes approximately, and then coming back, and then Jyotiraditya Scindia driving back his own car, giving journalists, holy wishes. Now all these developments clearly shows that it was not just a sudden development. There was a detailed planning that was going on, and perhaps the turning point in this was one event that took place maybe 3 or 4 days back, on 7th March precisely, or 6th March. Mr. JP Nadda's son's wedding reception. That was the point when perhaps Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan first time made this clear that Jyotiraditya Scindia is showing clear-cut intent of now switching over, and there I think things got into huddle. And the best part, as far as BJP is concerned, here it was not just Shivraj Singh Chauhan, because I know for sure that from that wedding reception, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar, and all prominent MPs, Madhya Pradesh leaders went out together. So there was some kind of consensus building, and there I feel Congress is failing miserably. BJP is showing a different kind of organizational structure and nature and functioning, which Congress is completely failing to match.
Okay, we'll have to wait and watch how those particular things unfold there in Madhya Pradesh. Remember, the MPs are now ferrying across many places, staying in resorts. We'll have to wait and watch how things unfold. We'll get a clearer picture as the things move ahead later today. Well, moving ahead now to the next newspaper that we picked up, that's the Times of India, and that's the coronavirus story. The number of coronavirus cases in India going past 50. But no death in the country from COVID-19. The centre advising against any non-essential travel abroad. Latest travel advisory also advising a 14-day self-imposed quarantine and work from home for passengers coming in from a dozen highly affected countries. Italy, meanwhile, recording the highest number of deaths in a day due to COVID-19 as the national toll goes past 630. After the economy, sports also hit by the situation. Football games in Germany, Spain likely to be played in empty stadiums. So lots of concern now as this particular coronavirus effects, after effects are now seen. Rajgopalan, looking at this particular coronavirus issue, India has been able to handle it pretty well. Looking at the number of cases and no deaths still in India, India managing to do it well. But when you look at the international front, especially a European country like Italy, what went wrong according to you? For a country like Italy, especially European country like Italy.
Italy does not have a Narendra Modi type of person to have Swachh Bharat type of thing. I attach significance to 2014 clarion call by Mr. Narendra Modi, and also subsequently the taxation on Indian citizens on Swachh Bharat. We are paying to be clean, India. Like the banks are having trust in Indian market, similarly the coronavirus could not make any inroads in Indian system because we have the best method of Swachh Bharat. That is the reason why corona did not affect India. Second thing, the cleanliness. Plus, the government of India took precautions, especially after the coronavirus unleashed on India. Prime Minister spoke to the Chinese president and had an exchange of how they controlled it. Our missions in China and Italy have been energized. Apart from that, Anil, for the last 2-3 days on mobile, if you dial a number, you get that coronavirus alert. So therefore, the public awareness was 150% good than the other countries. Italy lost because Italy does not have a proper health hygiene system. It's like Iran. 3 more countries are in the offing where the coronavirus had taken inroads, deep roots. Similarly, the Singapore and other countries, 122 countries have been affected because of this coronavirus. But India has extremely done well, thanks to Mr. Nadda and Harshvardhan and Prime Minister's initiative, the PMO was constantly monitoring. States have been alerted. State health ministers have also got into this, and especially wherever the crisis was there, central assistance was. Indian Council of Medical Research, Director General of DGCH, they are all at tenterhooks to ensure that this coronavirus does not take a toll.
Praful, when you look at the coronavirus issue, and especially a country like Italy, very much ahead in terms of research, R&D, but purely when it comes to tackling this issue, where do you think things went wrong for Italy after China?
See, there is a very peculiar situation in a country like Italy, which is completely in a lockdown mode. Besides Italy, there are two countries which are facing very severe crisis.
True.
One is Iran, where we don't know much what is happening, but there is a crisis situation. Even getting out 58 people, I think yesterday it was a major development yesterday morning that took place, that we could rescue 54 or 58 people from Iran, mainly from Kashmir. We brought them back. I think it was a fabulous diplomatic move by India. I think there are few more people, Indians, who are still stuck up in Iran. But what is happening in West Asia, especially Dubai and Saudi, it is also a matter of concern. Everywhere you see, you will find some kind of Chinese connection. Now, China has a very deep, inroads in those markets.
Agreed.
Yesterday, there was one important development which we need to understand. In Wuhan, which was the epicenter of coronavirus, first time after the outbreak, Chinese President Mr. Xi Jinping visited Wuhan. He was actually on roads.
Yeah.
He was waving at apartments, interacting with people. And he gave the statement that we have virtually curbed corona at the epicenter. Now the real question is, if it is curbed at the epicenter, why it was allowed to spread this way? And there is another story of a doctor who actually was a whistleblower on 27 December itself.
True.
In 2019. She has shared her story, how she was detained. Her group was almost in paranoia because they were sharing these reports, medical reports of some kind of suspicion. Why China didn't alert the world? Why China allowed this to spread? Somewhere somebody has to ask this question, and Italy will have to ask this question simply because, as I am saying again and again, that European markets, including now, you will see the next, only because of some climatic conditions, Africa is immune to this. Otherwise, Chinese have a very deep inroads in African markets also. Even we are not getting too much of news, but yesterday there are some developments in Pakistan. Again, Pakistan has a very strong connection. So Southeast Asia, East Asia, and now what we are seeing in West Asia and Africa, all these have a deep, and therefore I think what Israel did, and we are almost following the same route. Israel has banned, not just banned, it has called for a self-imposed, quarantine state of 14 days for everybody who is coming from outside.
True.
So we have also given that kind of advisory. Now I think, because yesterday's reports say that corona will have an impact worth $2 billion on the global economy. Now this is in the situation where we are already facing downturn when international economic situation is concerned. We can't afford to lose further. So we need a more collective approach, and the global market manipulator called China needs to be asked on what happened to. They can curb on their epicenter, but why they allowed to spread it? Somewhere on the basis of narrative, and somewhere on the issue of bringing transparency in handling situation, we should raise this question again and again.
Well, serious questions to be raised with China. But looking at the festival of colors in India, Rajgopal, and surely this threat and the fear of corona, surely a dampener in which the festival of colors was celebrated in India.
Of course, it dampened, but at the same time, there were enthusiasm. It's our festival. It's at least for 5,000, 6,000 years, we have been celebrating this. Therefore, there is a dampening aspect, but the people have celebrated within the family, within the, with color, without color. But this type of thing, as Praful said, why on holy day, on Deepavali day, this type of things are happening? Because Hindus celebrate little festival, and that too creating this type of disturbances. Apart from that, the outreach of Union Minister Mr. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, to Kashmir, and he went to Jammu and Kashmir. He stayed there overnight, met all the relatives of those who have been stranded in Iran and Gulf countries, pacified them. There was an approach, outreaching approach of External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. And second thing, the state governments have done extremely well, especially this Tamil Nadu, Kerala, where more students are in Italy. See, a short while ago also I got one SMS saying that 50 students are stranded in Italy from Tamil Nadu origin. So therefore, Indian government ferrying of affected persons from Iran and also from China by Indian Air Force flights and Indian Airlines, Air India. These are all some points which, as a precautionary measure, Narendra Modi government took it. Therefore, the virus is contained. But as Praful says, we must question China. Is it a biological war they unleashed against the world? These are all certain points. World Health Organization, which failed to contain this, also to be questioned.
Well, surely loads to ponder when it comes to this particular virus. But remember, there is still some caution to the wind that needs to be done. There seems to be a sense of panic that needs to be very much kept under check. Well, time for us to slip into a short breather here. On the other side, we've still got the US primaries coming in Super Tuesday. We'll take a look at that and also some other newspapers. Stay tuned with DD India.
A quick look at the day's top news. 100 big stories from across the country and the world in just 30 minutes. watch Express News Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. only on DD India.
Informative, incisive, intensive. Get your daily dose of news and analysis in English News Night every weekday at 9 p.m. on DD India.
One of the most spectacular mountain ranges in South India, the Nilgiris, lies at the westernmost part of Tamil Nadu and at the junction of Karnataka and Kerala. Nilgiri, meaning blue mountain, derives its name and charm from its natural setting.
Welcome back to First Edition. We're looking at the newspapers. Now is the turn to look at the Super Tuesday, and we're taking a look at the Washington Post editorial from the Washington Post on how the primaries are clearly heading to and where they are headed. Bernie Sanders clearly feeling the heat from Joe Biden. How do things progress from here on? 5 states up for grabs. That's 5 states up for grabs there. It's going to be tough for Joe Biden, or is it going to be a tight call for Bernie Sanders? They're the 5 states that are going to poll on Super Tuesday: Michigan, Washington, Missouri, Mississippi and Idaho holding the Democratic primaries on Tuesday. A quirk in how the delegates are won under the Democratic Party rules is raising the stakes for Tuesday's election, allowing a candidate to make up ground in the race quickly or fall further behind. The 5 states that we have spoken about, clearly there, all told, there are 352 delegates up for grabs. A candidate there clearly needing 1,991 delegates to win the Democratic presidential nomination. For Bernie Sanders, this is the great opportunity to catch up with Joe Biden, who enters the day ahead with just 96 delegates. For Biden, this could be the chance to open up what could be an insurmountable lead there in the presidential race for bagging more nominations. Primary results coming in slowly there. Most of the states that we're looking at, especially the top 3, Michigan there, Mississippi, all showing Biden having a formidable run there. So clearly, Praful, when you look at this particular primaries there and Super Tuesday, the second of the Super Tuesdays, clearly things, heating up for Bernie Sanders and things getting, the perfect recipe being cooked for Joe Biden.
Yes. See, first of all, we need to understand that corona scare has definitely hit the primaries in the US. So, even the delegates turning for voting the number was very low. In fact, Sanders found it most difficult to campaign. Traditionally, if you see in 2016, there was a virtual sweep for Sanders against then Mrs. Hillary Clinton. In all this belt, this is called as the Midwest.
True.
Especially Michigan is very critical here because the state has 125 delegates. So the proportion is very high. So Michigan is going to be critical. Traditionally, again, Mississippi and Missouri is supposed to be Sanders' stronghold. He virtually swept it last time. But again, you never know, because what has happened with last Super Tuesday, where without any much of a high pitch campaign, the way Biden took a lead of 380 versus 325 to against Sanders, 6 of the Democratic candidates have withdrawn in favor of Biden. Now that is a game changer. Please try and understand, because this is going to be the primaries at the Democratic Party level. in internal support within the Democratic Party is shifting towards Biden, because bringing Sanders is seen as a cakewalk for President Donald Trump into 2020 presidential election. Because the moment Sanders is in opposition, it becomes very easy for Trump to play his natural game. There Biden has an edge, but you know, the kind of player Sanders is, he is not going to give it up easily. So I believe that this is going till to the last leg, and Democratic Party will be able to finalize its candidate through primaries at very last moment for the November elections, again sort of giving edge to President Trump, because he is already in the campaign mode. He has already said that he is not going to you know, spare any economic downturn. He is going to use all his, you know, resources to beat the corona downturn. So I think he is very much in election mode, and Democratic Party is still in a mode to finalize which side to choose.
Okay, you know, purely looking at the early, you know, numbers coming in, you know, 3 places that Praful raised, Michigan, Missouri as well as Mississippi, that are considered to be Bernie Sanders' stronghold. Clearly, the odds are shifting to Joe Biden. If you purely look at the numbers that are early coming in, all 3 places, it's almost clear that Biden could take a big lead from these 3 places. Are things, you know, finally firming up for Biden, and, you know, Sanders suddenly losing all ground? How did you look at it, Rajgopal?
Yeah, the Sanders is on the decline. That is the indication I could get, at least. As Mr. Praful was saying, it's a game changer election. Plus, this coronavirus taken a toll, definitely. The international, you know, effect on US elections is definitely seen. Plus, the Michigan, Biden's success is also important. Plus, if you compare, for a common viewer of first edition, if you compare Sanders, it is like Congress party leadership in US. It's a joker's party. So therefore, Mr. Sanders, who has taken a different turn on 370, CAA, everything, he is abusing India, because he is very much cut up with the reception what Mr. Trump got in Ahmedabad, the Gandhinagar, and also in Delhi. That success of Trump visit to India, where that 40 lakh voters of Indian origin in US will give a boost up for Mr. Trump's election campaign. So these are all Indian connections are also telling more on US elections. And Sanders, please mind your words. Don't speak ill of India.
Okay. We'll have to see how things unfold there. The primary is clearly giving Joe Biden an edge. Time for us to slip into another breather here on First Edition. On the other side, we'll take a look at 2 more national dailies and take you forward. Stay tuned. Welcome back to First Edition. I'll look now at Mail today and two stories that we picked from Mail today, both talking about the oil prices as well as the mayhem that took place in the stock markets there on Monday. Remember, markets were closed because of Holi there in India, but we'll take a cue from the international markets on how they have opened and how things have panned out there. I'll look at the oil story there. Tuesday, there is a rebound for oil as it's relatively modest compared to that Monday plunge that we have seen. Monday's percentage declines for both crude grades as well as were the largest since January 1991 during the Gulf War, but tumbling oil prices after Saudi Arabia over the weekend cut in export prices for crude saw many directed Russia's refusal to back that OPEC output cut plan there. So clearly there is an oil war out between the two nations, Saudi Arabia taking on Russia there, but there is a rebound that you've seen when it comes to the oil prices there on Tuesday, though relatively modest, but clearly there is a rebound when it comes to the oil prices. Praful, coming to you first, how do you look at this particular story? There is something playing at the back of the Saudi Arabia's royal family, but having said that, this particular oil price cut and the war that is clearly out between Russia and Saudi Arabia, how do you see taking the world by storm, this particular all-out fight over fuel?
See, there is a turmoil within Saudi, and on the one hand it is going in a political reforms mode. Religious level, they are transforming, shifting their policy from traditional spreading Wahhabism to more reformist kind of Islam. And third, they are facing a new kind of challenge. On the one hand, they are facing a challenge regionally by Iran, but the real challenge is by the challenge that is posed by Russia. Saudi was actually expecting to reach to some consensus as far as fighting the US monopoly on oil market, or the future monopoly, because the shale gas and shale company is going to decide the future market, and everybody has virtually accepted this. The oil currency that countries like Saudi used to use at one point in international politics, that is diminishing. So now this is to gain the maximum benefit. They wanted to have actually the higher prices.
True.
But Russia actually scuttled the entire plan, because Russia has its own stake when it comes to gas and oil. And now to teach Russia a lesson, Saudi has suddenly brought down the prices for two reasons. One is, of course, it is the competitive politics. So in oil market, suddenly Saudi oil will get more demand. But more importantly, it will also give some boost to the internal economy of Saudi Arabia. So this is a very clever move, but that is going to have a huge impact as far as the global market is concerned, which is facing. So at some point it is going to give some boost to Saudi economy. We should of course feel good about this, because 30% down in oil prices, especially the crude, it means we are saving almost up to 40 to 50% on from our treasury, which we are giving for importing crude oil. So how to pass on this benefit to how much rather to pass on to the real consumers, that is going to be the key. It can be a real booster for Indian economy as well. So from Indian point of view, I see this war as a good omen for in this fight of big titans for oil and gas. I think we have a large benefit for our economy.
Well, the Indian consumers surely to gain from this particular drop in crude oil prices. But also on Monday there was another mayhem that took place in the stock markets, where we saw stock markets suddenly tumbling, not only in India but across the globe, stock markets tumbling. But the US stock markets have opened sharply higher, rebounding after that Monday rout. US stock indexes opened with more than 2% higher as hopes of coordinated policy easing to avoid that global recession calmed investors' nerves a day after that biggest financial rout there across the globe on the stock markets. A few minutes into trading there, Dow Jones average stood up roughly around 3.9% or around 920 points. Rajgopal, how do you look at the Indian stock markets? You know, clearly a benchmark to follow when you look at the American markets on how the Indian Sensex and NSE will open. But do you see positive impacts of it clearly rubbing off on the Indian stock markets?
Yeah, it will have another 1 hour's time. You will have a positive signs. You wait and watch, because certain important stability issue is also there. As Praful was saying, these titanic war between Saudi Arabia and Russia, blessing in disguise for India. Indian consumers of petrol will also be easing it. Plus, it's a good luck time for Mr. Narendra Modi government, because it is not going to affect the Indian economy. But at the same time, some states are facing drought. To compensate that, the oil prices will come as a handy to play it up. And the relationship of India, especially Narendra Modi's personal rapport with Saudi and also with Russia, are immense good. Therefore, international level also, we have in the oil price, that will have an impact on the Indian stock market. Wait and watch. Corona, oil price, this type of political instability will also have an impact on Indian market. Let us hope for the best for 9 o'clock when the bells ring.
Okay, let's hope for the best when the 9 o'clock bells ring. Praful, looking at the Indian markets, do you see a total drastic shift from what we saw on Monday, and the US markets, the Dow Jones rubbing off on the Indian markets and having a positive impact?
I hope so, because the kind of meltdown that we saw on Monday.
True.
It was I think when we come to the single day downturn, it was -5. So it was a huge downturn. In fact, US markets also opened with negative note yesterday night, but bounced back significantly, and plus 920 is a very good news for Indian market. And with the kind of signals that we are getting, especially from the oil industry, I think we hope that there will be some kind of gains, and we can compensate with what happened on
okay,
Monday.
let's keep our fingers crossed we can compensate from what happened on Monday mayhem there at the stock markets, and see a positive impact of the American markets rubbing on the Indian markets, and we see our browsers opening well on Wednesday. Well, time now to take a look at all the events that are listed for today.
Lok Sabha is scheduled to hold a discussion on Delhi violence. The Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020 will be moved in Lok Sabha by Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri for consideration and passing. The bill aims to amend the Aircraft Act 1934. The grand finale of the second edition of Transporters Meet will be held today. Union Minister of Road Transport Highways Nitin Gadkari will be the chief guest at the event. Union Minister of State for Culture and Tourism Prahlad Singh Patel will inaugurate exhibition on Jallianwala Bagh at the premises of National Archives in New Delhi. The All England Open Championship, the season's first World Tour Super 1000 tournament, which counts towards qualification for Tokyo 2020, will begin at Arena Birmingham.
Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of first edition. Let me thank the two gentlemen in the studios, both joining us since after that celebrative day, but surely celebrations with political colors there. Raj Gopalan as well as Praful Ketkar joining us this morning on first edition. That's all we have time for in this first edition. Thanks for watching. Have a safe and wonderful day ahead. Tracking news, enjoying news. Bye-bye.